If you were to ask people, what's the most popular story in the Bible? I'll bet an awful lot of them would say it's the story that we read tomorrow morning. Shalom, my friends. Yes, tomorrow we read a very popular biblical story. Tomorrow we read the story of Noah, the flood, and the ark. I think one reason that this story is so popular is that we learned it as children in all sorts of forms. Many of us had Noah and the ark toys. We certainly heard the story, maybe from our parents, maybe in Sunday school or church or synagogue. And there were even camp songs. And I'll spare you the experience of hearing me sing one of those songs to you, but trust me, there were songs about Noah and the ark that we used to sing at camp as well. So I think we grow up with a love for this story, and it remains a very popular story. The question is, does it have anything to say to us as adults? And I believe that the answer is yes. Let's begin with the paragraph before the Noah story. That's when it tells us that God regretted making human beings because, this is the way the Bible puts it, every single thought of the human mind was nothing but evil all of the time. Humanity is depicted as being horrible, but then it says, a note of hope, Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Then the Noah story begins by telling us that Noah was a righteous man. And it says it in an interesting way, that he was righteous in his generation. Is that a compliment? Or is it a subtle put down, a backhanded compliment, if you will? Is it saying that at a time when everyone was miserable and rotten, compared to them, Noah wasn't so bad? It's like being inmate of the year at San Quentin. It's not exactly a high honor. But the other side of that coin is a very serious point. When you are surrounded by people behaving terribly, it is easier for you to behave terribly. When you're surrounded by people who are behaving decently, it is easier for you to behave decently. So I think the story is telling us Noah was surrounded by miserable people, but he managed to remain a decent human being. This is so important because it's what makes the Torah's flood story unique, the Bible's flood story. You see, there definitely was a flood in the ancient world. Some scholars say that the Mediterranean Sea overflowed and turned what was once a freshwater lake into what is today the Black Sea. I'm not sure, but every ancient culture has a flood story. And National Geographic has a very interesting special on what might have caused the flood. I just gave you a little spoiler about that a moment ago. The point I want to emphasize is that in other cultures, there are always reasons that the hero is chosen to save humanity, but only in the Bible is it because of his goodness, his righteousness. And that is a lesson that we can learn and use at any age throughout our lives. So as always, my friends, thank you for staying with me. Please click on my face right here to subscribe to the channel, or to see my last video, click on its icon right there. Until next week, Shabbat Shalom.